Forget about finding the theory behind the value web on the internet. It isn't there. And if it is, it's not what I'm using. My framework to map out your industry and to find opportunities to create value is a creation of myself. Maybe it's not according to the book, but it works like a charm. So pay attention and stick to what's offered in this module. The two theories that form the foundation of this framework are the supply chain analysis and gap analysis. Furthermore, the framework contains elements of the competitor analysis, the value chain analysis, and positioning. In Value Map 1, we will actually be mapping out the industry of your choice to see how goods and materials flow, where value is created, and who competes for what. When we do that, we can establish the influence of trade barriers and legislation, and we can investigate the bottlenecks in the value web to see where we can invest our money and to improve the entire value web. Another use for the framework is to map out your own business within your industry. If you do it right, you can map out your value chain, map out competitors and alternatives in each step of the value chain, so you create a value web, position yourself within the value web, and substantiate your make or buy decisions. When done right, it's easy to find partners, suppliers, and distributors. This will be explained in the course Web Value 2. Say you are a Dutch manufacturer of cotton yarns and dyed fabric called Tsatsi Textiles. You get a lot of orders from Mozambique, Beira, and you're looking to see if you can do more business there. You will pursue two options. Option 1 is to see whether you can leverage your strengths, manufacturing of high quality yarns and fabrics, to create a business opportunity in the cotton industry in Mozambique, which is Value Web 1. And option 2 is whether you can increase your exports to Mozambique by establishing a trade subsidiary in Beira, which is Value Web 2. For the first option, you start out with mapping the cotton industry in Mozambique. It all starts with the cotton farmer. The farmer grows cotton on his land. The cotton farmer sells his product to traders or to a cotton factory. The farmer is not the only one growing cotton. There are other farmers as well. The traders also trade the cotton from these farmers. By buying and selling cotton and keeping it in stock, they maintain a market and a market price for raw cotton. Therefore, you can buy and sell cotton at any time. Tanzania produces good quality cotton, which is being exported to Mozambique. Malawi imports cotton from Mozambique. So there's an international market for raw cotton. To protect its cotton farmers, Mozambique taxes imports with a 20% import duty. So local market prices may vary from equal to international market prices up to 25% above international market prices. Actually, the web doesn't start with the farmers, because they also need seeds, labor, and fertilizer. Even the fertilizer plants have their own web and need oil and guano, but we will not go that way. The next step in the value web are the ginneries, where seeds and contaminants are removed from the raw cotton and the cotton fibers are aligned. The end product of ginneries is a lint. Of course, there's more than one ginnery, and lint is traded within the country and across the border. Now you can see that the supply chain is actually a supply web. Hence I use the term value web. The lint goes to the spinneries that make yarn. And there is an international market for yarn as well. The yarn is taken to the weaveries and the knitters who make it into fabric. And again, there's an international market for fabric. The next step is dyeing and finishing. The next step is garment production. The next step is distribution and retail. And finally, the consumers buy the end product. If you have mapped out the value web, you can see how you can position yourself within this web. You can look for capacity problems and price problems. When you spot a capacity problem and you decide to fix it, you know you will make sales volumes. Because you have also mapped out the price levels between the different stages in the value web, you know the market price of your raw material and you know the market price of your end product. So you should also know how much margin you can make. When the value web is hampered by capacity or quality problems in one of its stages, the entire web will not function as well. When you focus your investment on the bottleneck in the value web, you might be able to improve the performance of the entire value web and therefore create more impact on the local economy. First, check the performance of the value web. Say we map out the different stages by checking out volumes and quality and estimating their performance in the value web expressed as a percentage of the required level. What the required level is up to you. It could be the pre-war level of cotton production or the level that is needed to be self-supporting in the garment industry. You take your pick. Say the cotton farmers could perform at 70% of their required level. Plot that in the graph. Say the ginneries could perform at 80% of the required level. You plot that in the graph as well. Say the spinning mills are actually performing at 25% of the required level because of outdated equipment and poor quality. And say the weaving mills could perform at 60%. Ancient looms still produce high quality product. The dyeing and finishing industry could perform at 70%, and the garment producers could perform at 80% of the required level. Because the spinning mills perform so poorly at only 25% of the required level, the entire value web performs poorly at only 25% of the required level. Focusing your investment at the weak spot in the value web, the weaving mills, improves that weak spot, say from 25% to 60% of the required level, and therefore improves the performance of the entire value web. So Tchetche Textiles could invest in a modern weaving mill in Mozambique to make money and to improve the performance of the Mozambican cotton industry. When you want to check for gaps in the value web, you can do that as follows. Take your mapped out value web, check capacities of the different stages, check the theoretical capacity, which is the number of machines and their maximum capacity, or the available length multiplied by the maximum crop yield, and check utilization of that capacity. Check quality of stocks and ready products. Check volumes of import and export. Also look at trade barriers, taxes and incentives. Check price levels both on local markets and international markets. You know something's wrong and you have a business opportunity when utilization is very low, or when imports are very high, or when prices on the local market are much higher than on the international markets. On the other hand, when exports are high or local prices are low, you may also have a business opportunity. The examples in this presentation are fictitious and are only used to make a point. The actual situation in Mozambique is a bit different. Mozambique is a former Portuguese colony. In 1964, a war of independence broke out that lasted 11 years. 2 years later, in 1977, civil war broke out between Frelimo and Renamo. That bloody war lasted 18 years. Before 1964, Mozambique had a flourishing cotton industry. 30 years of war, 1 million casualties and 5 million refugees have devastated the land and devastated the cotton industry. Revival of the cotton industry is hampered by protectionist measures by the Mozambican government. Import of cotton and cotton products is indeed taxed with 25% duty. But the main problem is that cotton farmers are protected by establishment of a per kilo minimum price. The price is twice as high at the market. The price is twice the market price for raw cotton, and the cotton farmers have no incentive to improve the quality of their product. The result is poor quality cotton for twice the price that no one will buy and no one can use. As a result, the crops are burned and the cotton industry is not developing to its full potential. Thank you.